Transportation in the Winooski watershed. What problems are we facing, and how do I hope the future will look for the river and the people of the watershed by Marley McDermott. The major issue I've identified, though, is transportation. It is a major threat to the river and needs an effective solution. Vermont is a very rural place. Houses and workplaces, along with stores, can be very far apart. The current public transportation system is not equipped to navigate the town efficiently and effectively in an ecologically conscious way, and this has serious consequences of the health of the Winooski River. Greenhouse gas emissions. Motor vehicles burn fossil fuels, creating greenhouse gas emissions. The population relies heavily on single-occupancy vehicles to navigate the state because public transportation is not adequate. This culminates in transportation being the highest source of greenhouse gas emissions. These emissions have harmful impacts to the environment. Stormwater runoff is also a major problem relating to cars. The roads and parking lots that cars drive on are non-permeable. How can we change this? My proposal is that we increase the cost of public parking and use those funds to improve the public transit system of Montpelier. My thesis idea is that I believe that if we are able to make driving less appealing and have a system in place to replace driving altogether, we would be able to decrease the amount of greenhouse gases emitted by transportation and improve the health of the river and our communities. The current transportation system we have in Montpelier is MyRide. MyRide is a on-demand bus service that replaced the scheduled bus service. VT Digger did an article of June 2022, and I found some key points. You can use the app or call to schedule a ride. It was introduced around the pandemic, which has thrown it off, so for now the rides are free. The average cost for one person for a 3-mile ride is $16.75, which is more than the average normal scheduled bus route pre-pandemic, which was only $11. But whenever the bus is in motion for MyRide, a customer is being served. There are people who are both for and against this new feature. Eventually, the city plans on replacing the buses with electric buses and minivans for more flexible travel. How I think we could improve. Initially, I think we need more vehicles, specifically accessible minivans. As stated before, the town has already had the idea of adding more minivans. I believe these minivans should be electric, accessible, and we should have a lot of them in order to sustain the population, available for long hours and everyday service with little or no fare. The current fare for MyRide outside the pandemic is $1 to $2 per ride. In addition, I think we should bring back at least 1 or 2 fixed bus routes for those who do not have access to a phone in order to schedule a ride. And I think that there should be vehicles for both shuttling around downtown Montpelier, as well as the more rural parts of the city, such as dirt roads, and potentially even going into neighboring cities. Long term, I believe that we should replace parking spaces which are being unused with public-based projects, and trying to convert all public transit to electric is a big goal, quite expensive. And I also believe that branching into other neighboring towns would be able to make navigating central Vermont way more convenient without a car. The current parking rates range from $1 to 50 cents per hour. The revenue generated is $136,000 a year, and this money goes to upkeeping parking lots, parking spaces, and other similar infrastructure. My proposed parking rates is that we gradually increase the price in increments of 5 cents until we see less cars on the road and more use of the public transportation. I believe the revenue would be similar, and it would go to upkeeping the public transit system as well as parking infrastructure. Peer feedback. I put a poll on my Instagram story to see what young Vermonters may feel about this idea. I set it up as so, Vermonters, especially if you drive, I'm doing a project for the health of the Winooski River and I need quick feedback. Question 1. If the price of parking was raised in order to grow the public transit system and make it more accessible and affordable, how much more likely would you be to utilize the public transportation? The second question I asked was, would you be in support of increased public parking fee in exchange for better public transit? Would this realistically happen? I believe that is a good jumping off point. I'm just one person, and from my perspective, this is a great plan. Money is not a motivating factor for everyone, and perhaps a few cents wouldn't sway people into using the public transit system. I'm sure there are many factors I don't even know about. Accessibility is a main issue when it comes to public transportation. How can we accommodate everyone? Are people who are at higher risk out of luck? I am no expert on the Montpelier transit system. I just identified a problem and came up with a solution I thought would work for me and others like me, making single occupancy vehicles less appealing.